Good morning. It's me again, Kirk. Have my coffee. Still down at the hunting cabin. I figured I'd do another episode of Cartridge Talk, and I will probably wait a couple of days after I upload the first one to see how that one does before I decide whether I'm going to upload this one. So if you're seeing it, some people evidently liked it. Today, I would like to talk about a round that you can consider the grandfather of a lot of rounds we see nowadays, or of several rounds. It started a kind of a wave back in its day. In the 1890s, the Swedish military was looking for a new cartridge and a new rifle. So they went to Paul Mauser and said, we need a Mauser rifle, and we need a round. So the Craig rifle was also used by the Norwegians, and they said, we want a new round. So they kind of worked together, and they came out with this. This is the 6.5 by 55 Swedish Mauser. Now, what is a Swedish Mauser? Well, it's got a slightly different case head, not much. In fact, modern brass really has the same case head, I think, as the 308 and the 30-06. But originally it was slightly larger, the rim was. I don't think it is anymore. It's very popular in Europe, moderately popular in the United States because all the surplus rifles, and you've got the Winchester Featherweight was offered in 6.5 by 55, the 700 was offered in 6.5 by 55, the M77 was offered in 6.5 by 55, and all your European rifle makers pretty much make a 6.5 by 55. Got into a discussion with, some newer rifle people, and they're like, yeah, well, why don't you just buy a 6.5 Creedmoor? And I says, well, I got the 6.5 Swede. What's the difference? About 100 feet a second. The 6.5 Swede, this round with a 140, goes about 2650. The 6.5 Creedmoor, in a lot of instances, is around 2750. I looked on, I want to say it was Hornady's site, and their 6.5 Creedmoor match ammunition is a 140 grain bullet at 2650. So basically, it's the same round in a lot of ways. And the 260 and the 6.5 Creedmoor and the 6.5 Swede are all kissing cousins. They're the same peas in a pod. 2,700 feet a second or so, between 2,650 or 2,600 and 2,750, within 100 feet a second of each other. What makes them work? What makes a 6.5 such a good hunting round? The same thing that makes the rest of them. The bullets they shoot are really long for caliber. They use a fairly fast twist, around 1 and 8 or so. Long bullet, long sectional density. And what does that do? Well, that gives you deep penetration. I don't believe I like in the 6.5 Creedmoor, the hunting match bullets as much, because I don't think you get the performance that you get out of a standard cup and cord bullet on whitetails. I'm not going to go chasing big animals out west with a 6.5 Creedmoor or a 6.5 Swede. Now, if I was walking through the woods and ran into an elk at 150 yards or closer with a 6.5 Swede, do I think it would do the job? Oh, handily, all day long. But you got these guys out west where you're in up with 400, 500 shots, and I just don't feel comfortable, or I wouldn't feel comfortable with a 6.5 Creedmoor with any kind of bullet. I know guys are doing it, but I don't necessarily agree with that being 100% sound logic. I think you get a lot of penetration, but if I'm going to go out west and spend money on a hunt, I'm going to take something 7mm or larger with a 165 grain, 180 grain bullet, and I want it to be going close to 3,000 feet a second. I want to be able to reach out there and touch someone. I really, let's carry a 7 mag or a 300 mag. I've got a 280 Remington. 165 grain bullet at 2,900 feet a second. That'll work. It's going to have more penetration at range than I think the Creedmoor would. It's just a bigger hole, but that's my opinion and mine alone. But I think the 6.5 Swede is a great historic cartridge. Offered originally in the M94 and M96 bolt-action Mauser rifles, which were, two-lug, pre-1998, 1898 K-type Mausers. Not quite as strong. It's a medium-length action, which means unlike the Creedmoor in the Remington short action, it doesn't have the problem with the long bullets. It can handle them all day long. You know, action's long enough, magazine's long enough. It can handle pretty much anything you throw at it. Because remember, the original bullet for the 6.5 by 55 was not a 140 grain Spitzer. It was a 160 grain round nose at around 2350 or 2400, I think it was 23 something. You know, 2,400 feet a second with a 160 grain round nose. You're going to punch a hole through whatever you shoot at. Think about it. DW Bell and those guys were using Dutch Mannlicher 6.5 by 53 rimmed, 52 rimmed, I think it was. And, you know, those kind of rounds, a little like they're Carcano size rounds with 160 grain round nose bullets in them. And they were braining elephants with them. Just, you know, shoot clean through its head. And then they'd go up and have a bear with a bigger gun, and they would shoot the elephant with the bigger gun, but they would sneak among the elephants with the little guns and pop them and drop them and then go finish them off with a big gun. So it's just, you know, they penetrate for miles. I don't think that that round, that 160 grain round nose, is as effective sportingly for what we do down here. I have shot deer with 120s in the 6.5. It did not get as much penetration. The bullet that I think gets, like, you know, it's awesome penetration is, this is one of my hand loads, and it's got a Barnes X in it. This is an old Barnes X. They don't even make this design bullet anymore. This is the old original ones. But I had a couple hundred of them, and I haven't completely shot them up. I shot a deer lengthwise with this thing one time. Broke his shoulder going in, broke his hip coming out. Went slammed through the whole thoracic cavity of the deer, just from stem to stern. Didn't tear up a lot of meat because it's not going that super fast, but it broke every bone in the way. It broke his hip joint coming out. So, you know, to each his own. I think it's an effective round all the way around. I think all the 6.5s, whether it be the 6.5 by 55, the 260, or the 6.5 Creedmoor, are all great lightweight, light kicking, whitetail size rifles. I would recommend them in a heartbeat. I've been asked numerous times, what would I buy? I said, well, right now, the 6.5 Creedmoor or the 708 are my two favorites for new shooters for deer. I like the 243, but I really would get above the 243 because I've seen some instances where the 243 did not function as well. 708, 6.5 Creedmoor, even a 308. Something in that class works better. But I know this video is about the 6.5 by 54, and I thought I'd, you know, give my opinion on it and some of the things that are in its periphery around it. Let me know what you think. I mean, I think for a, you know, something that came out in 1894 that is still ballistically relevant in today's market is amazing. I mean, it is. It was way ahead of its time in what it did. And when hunters started using it, they discovered that the 6.5 caliber, 140 grain type bullets just performed way out of proportion for how big they actually were. You know, I like it. I'm still shooting it. I'm going to keep shooting it. Have a good day.